The Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin, a First Chapter Friday read aloud video with the Word Nerd. Today, as you listen, play along. Watch for the story quote that will appear on screen. Write it down, word by word, and then follow the instructions given to you by your teacher. Stay all the way to the end to see if you've written it down correctly. Hey teachers, before you watch this video, snag a student engagement freebie down in the video description box below. I've got a First Chapter Friday author and story blurb sheet, an author interview sheet, and also a really fun twist on the mystery quote. You're going to want to have these before you watch the video, so if you haven't done it yet, press pause, grab the worksheets, and then begin. One last thing before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Mrs. White's students at Salisbury Middle School in Salisbury, Maryland. I'm so glad you guys are here today, and members of the Word Nerd Collaborative, I hope you love this story. Happy listening. Hi, my name is Amanda Zieba. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd, and another First Chapter Friday video. This week, I'm going to be reading to you from The Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin. Two authors? Yes, two authors. And I'm going to get a chance to meet with them next week at the WWII, Wisconsin Educational Media and Technology Association Conference that we're all going to be at together. And I'm going to ask them, how did two of you write one book together? What did that look like? And I'm especially curious because this book is fantastic. So does it make it easier to have two authors working on it or harder? No matter what their answer is, I loved it, and I know you're going to love this book too. I could ramble on and on, but we don't really need that. So instead, I'm going to read you the blurb so you know specifically what this book is about, and then I'm going to read you the first two chapters. Yep, two authors, so two chapters. Here we go. Remember, you are officially bound by the official secrets. Summer 1940. 19-year-old Jacob Novus and his quirky younger sister Lizzie share a love of riddles and puzzles, and now they're living inside of one. The quarrelsome siblings find themselves amid one of the greatest secrets of World War II, Britain's eccentric, code-breaking factory at Bletchley Park. As Jacob joins Bletchley's top minds to crack the Nazis' Enigma cipher, 14-year-old Lizzie embarks on a mission to solve the mysterious disappearance of their mother. The Battle of Britain rages and Hitler's invasion creeps closer and closer. And at the same time, baffling messages and codes arrive on their doorstep while a menacing inspector lurks outside the gates of the Bletchley mansion. Are the messages truly for them, or are they a trap? Could the riddles of the Enigma and their mother's disappearance be somehow connected? Jacob and Lizzie must find a way to work together as they race to decipher the clues that unravel a shocking puzzle and presents the ultimate challenge. How long must the secret be kept? You guys, I have to tell you, you know I'm from Wisconsin and I'm a Midwest girl, but when I went to Chicago a couple Christmases ago, they had an actual Enigma machine in one of the exhibits. I think it was at the Science and Industry Museum. So if you're in the Chicago area, you should totally go and check it out. There might be others at different museums, but that's the one that I saw. So let us dive in and read chapter 1 and 2 of The Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin. Each of these chapters alternates points of view. So the first chapter is from Jacob's perspective, and the second chapter is going to be from Lizzie's perspective. First things first, a riddle. A traveler crosses a border into enemy territory. We're talking ages ago, ancient times, warring kingdoms, that sort of thing. The traveler is stopped by soldiers. It's their job to make sure no one carries any secret messages. They search the man, strip him bare, run fingers through his hair. The man is clean. He pulls on his clothes, goes his way. But he does have a hidden message. Where? I've given you a clue. No, it's not in his brain, and it's not in his body, though that can work. A classic spy trick. There's this story from the American Revolution where a British spy is caught sneaking through American lines. The gangs suspect him of carrying secrets. They force him to drink some horrid potion, and next thing you know, the poor chap's evacuating from both ends. Sure enough, out pops a silver bullet. This is no ordinary bullet. It's hollow and can be unscrewed, and inside is a tiny note. But our traveler carries no such spy gadget. Our man continues his journey. He walks for hours. Finally, deep in the woods at an agreed-upon spot, he meets a rebel leader, an ally of his own king. The traveler asks for a very sharp knife. He lifts the blade to his head, and he begins to shave off his hair. The secret message is written on his scalp. I'll never forget telling my sister Lizzie this one. She was 5 or 6, and for weeks she ordered every adult she saw to bend down so she could search their head for hidden writing. She informed Mr. Davies, our neighbor across the hall, that he could never, ever be a spy. Why not? He wished to know. She said, because you have no hair. Davies was terribly put out. Maybe he dreamed of becoming a spy. Maybe he was one. It's possible. A nice head of hair is not required these days. You see, people have come up with better ways to send secrets than writing them on each other's heads. Of course, the more cunningly the secrets are hidden, the harder people like me will work to find them. Chapter number 2 is from Lizzie's perspective. Allow me to explain something. I'm lying. And surprisingly, I'm quite good at it. I never imagined that at the age of 14 I'd excel at deception, but these days many things surpass even my robust imagination. England on the brink of German invasion, for one thing. The sweaty man in front of me, for another. Apologies, Mr. Fleetwood, I didn't realize I'd walked us so far today. That was one of the lies, of course. The walk was a death dash, a ploy to ensure he'd be positively exhausted when we boarded the ship and entered our cabin. Fleetwood, my chaperone for the voyage, heaves his bloated and blistered trotters into a pan of water. Remarkably small feet for such a wide frame. He mops a line of sweat from his brow, his face so flushed with pink it resembles a glazed holiday ham. Oh, goodness, Gren made no mention of your foot ailment, I tell him. I've no ailment, Fleetwood says, and you will report no such thing to your grandmother. I simply wasn't prepared for a march around the whole of Liverpool. He loosens his ties and settled in. He loosens his tie, settling in with the drink. Perhaps you can understand my melancholy, I say, placing my suitcase where he'd be certain to trip over it. Today is the last I'll see of England before we sail for America. And whose fault is that? He bellows, wagging a finger toward the ceiling of our cabin. Hitler's fault. I nod dutifully. This war is Hitler's fault. My displacement, Hitler's fault. That gas mask I carry at all times. I raise my voice for full effect. Hitler's fault. That's the reply he wants. Please note that I do not include the words I think, because I do not think. I know. Another benefit of the sage age of 14, there are many things you just know. Like the terrible truth that many British men who leave for the war will die in the war, or the fact that Mr. Fleetwood enjoys one too many nits of old Schnedley. When I share things like that, people often say, My, aren't you precocious, Elizabeth? But let's be honest, shall we? When adults tell a child or a teenager that they're precocious, what they're really saying is, please don't say that out loud. But I say most things out loud. I prefer being straightforward. My older brother Jacob used to be straightforward. Before Willa disappeared, that is. Willa is our mother. Killed in a bomb blast, they told us. A falsity I refuse to accept. I no longer refer to her as mother because she's not currently here to mother me, so it's easier and hurts less to call her by her first name. Precocious? Probably. Willa is American, from a posh place called Cleveland. Some say that explains why I'm so straightforward, because I'm half American. They say the word American as if it's scandalous. I love that. Willa loved it too. Of course, someday I will make it to America and meet genuinely scandalous girls. I imagine Cleveland to be a pond well stocked. But I've never been to America. As I grew up, Gran always came to London because Willa was constantly working. And now Gran thinks I'm rushing to join her in Cleveland, and so does her estate steward, the yeasty-footed Mr. Fleetwood. But I'm not. Of course I'm not. Willa's the only parent Jacob and I have left. I made a pledge to uncover the truth about her disappearance. I told my brother as much in my correspondence, but Jacob hasn't responded to any of the letters that I've sent to the curious address he provided. I've heard nothing from him for over 3 months. First Willa disappears, and now my brother? I refuse to leave England until I determine their whereabouts. Mr. Fleetwood, would you like to join me for a stroll on the deck before we depart? No, no, he says, I've just poured a drink. Yes, probably best to rest your legs. It's a small ship, but so lovely of Grant to put such a large suite, don't you think? I continue to chatter as I've learned it tires him. Will you be able to endure this discomfort? I hesitate to leave you. I place a hand on my chest. Even for a moment. I'm fine, he insists. His footbath is now pinked by the weep of his blisters. Perfect. All right, I'd like to wave my hanky as we set sail. A transatlantic voyage to escape German invasion. It's all so exciting. I gush. I return and unpack my suitcase as soon as we depart. Very good, Elizabeth. I exit the cabin, turn the corner in the hallway, pull a deep breath, and then I run. As fast as I possibly can, dodging the luggage steward, vaulting over suitcases, and picking up speed midair. I dash down one staircase and then another, taking the final 5 steps in a single airborne leap. I land rump first on what appears to be a gilded box owned by a pinched-faced peacock of a woman. My hat, she exclaims. I do apologize, I say, removing my backside from the squash of her box, but I'm in a terrible hurry. And then I set off again. Young lady, bellows the peacock. Young lady, what on earth are you doing? Her voice fades as I see my target exit. What am I doing? I'm lying. And I'm escaping. And honestly, I do feel a bit bad about it. It was much too easy. For Fleetwood, as my brother calls it. Clearly, he has no experience with teenagers. Clearly, he has no idea what I'm about to accomplish. Clearly, he is a very poor chaperone. Because the steamship will set sail for America. But I'll be racing back to London when it does. If you want to find out what happens next to Lizzie and to her brother Jacob and to all of the secrets and to Willa and to poor Fleetwood and everyone else that they meet on their journey, absolutely pick up a copy of the Bletchley Riddle. You will love this historical fiction novel filled with secrets and twists and turns. It is fantastic. Thank you so much for visiting me on my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd. I hope you come back again for more First Chapter Fridays and other great content. I'll see you again next time. Happy reading. To continue reading the Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin, pick up a copy from your school library, purchase one from your favorite local indie bookstore, like Birdie's Bookstore, my favorite indie bookstore, or grab it via the Amazon link in the video description box below. Then be sure to check out the rest of the First Chapter Friday playlist. I've got more than 200 middle grade and young adult novels ready and waiting for you. This week's mystery quote says, "What good is a story that can never be told?" Thanks so much for visiting my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd. I hope you come back again for more First Chapter Fridays, brain breaks, direct teaching instruction videos, and more. I'll see you again next time. Happy reading.